Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mr. Jackson. In this video, we're going to talk about how to find the slope from a table. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the lesson.
I've been thinking that I can't quite get enough time on the inside of the cycle that you spin with gravity and...
Now, for finding the slope from a table, I'm going to show you two different methods. The first one we're going to look at is slope formula. And if you're not sure what slope formula is, I put that down in the bottom left-hand corner. It's m equals, or slope equals, in your numerator is going to be the vertical change, or y2 minus y1, all over your horizontal change, or x2 minus x1. So let's go ahead and find the slope of the table for number one, utilizing slope formula. And the very first thing you want to do is you're going to pick two ordered pairs. And the order pair that I'm going to start with is negative 12, 5. So we're going to label that x1, y1. And the next ordered pair that we're going to pick, it doesn't really matter which ordered pairs that you pick. I didn't have to pick negative 12, 5 to start. I could have picked negative 6, 5. It doesn't matter which ordered pairs that you pick, because if you actually do have a slope, they should be changing at a constant rate. So no matter which one that you pick, you should get the same answer back regardless. The only thing that you don't want to do is, let's say we pick negative 9, which would be x2, y2 here. You don't want to do something like this where 5 is y2, but instead of picking negative 9, you make this one down here x2. Because if you do that, then you're not going to get a constant change for your slope anymore, because you didn't even pick the right order pair to begin with. So you just want to make sure for tables that your x and y values are directly next to each other. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and plug it into our slope formula, which is going to be m equals y2 minus y1, so that's going to be 5 minus 5, and it should be easy to plug in. You already labeled everything that you need to. And then in the denominator will be x2, which is negative 9, minus x1, which is negative 12. Now let's go ahead and subtract here. 5 minus 5 is 0 in your numerator. And then in the denominator, we are subtracting a negative. So we have minus a negative 12. That's actually going to turn to addition. So if you see that, be on the lookout that that's going to turn to addition. Negative 9 plus 12 is going to give us a positive 3, while 0 divided by 3 is going to give us a final answer of a slope of 0. So if you were to graph that on a coordinate plane, there is no steepness to this line at all. It's going to be a completely horizontal line from left to right. So I want to make sure you saw an example like that, because sometimes you get zero slope, sometimes it's positive, negative, or even undefined, which you'll see in a little bit. So that's the first method that you could utilize, which is slope formula. Or if you didn't want to use slope formula, or your teacher says, hey, look at the table and find it without utilizing slope formula, well, you could do this as well. First, you're going to look at your vertical change, which is your change in your y values. How does it change from your first y value to your second y value? So from 5 to 5, was there any change at all? Well, no, it stayed the same exact number. That would be a change of 0. Let's go ahead and check it again. From 5 to 5 again. Well, that's a change of 0. And then finally, we'll check it one more time from 5 to 5, and we still get 0 back, which means we have a vertical change of 0, and notice how it's staying constant. It has to be constant for slope. So let's go ahead and check our x values. So from negative 12 to negative 9, what is the change? Well, it's increasing by 3. Remember, you have to think backwards for negatives. Those numbers are getting closer and closer to becoming positive. Now from the next one, negative 9 to negative 6. Well, that's going to be a change of plus 3. And finally, the very last one, that's also going to be a change of plus 3. So if you were to write this as a slope, well, remember, it's m equals your vertical change is up top, which was your y change. That would be 0. And the denominator is going to be your horizontal change, or your x values changing, which would be a positive 3. And again, 0 divided by 3, we get back that slope of 0 that we did with slope formula. Now let's go ahead and take a look at number 2, utilizing both of those methods. So let's label x1, y1, x2, y2, but you're going to notice your table is now horizontal, or left to right. So nothing really changes here. You just need to make sure you don't accidentally put x1 and y1 in the wrong spots or anything like that. But you're also going to notice that it's not labeled x and y anymore. We now have hours and total cost. So 99.9% of the time, I never have seen a table that is tricked purposely to mess you up. X is always going to be first. Hours is X, total cost is Y. I don't ever see it flip-flop really, where Y is first and X is second, because that wouldn't really make any sense. So just keep in mind that X is always first, Y is always second. So let's go ahead and label with our order pairs here. This will be X1, but make sure you don't accidentally do this. I see this quite a bit, especially when you're dealing with vertical tables a lot and you throw this one out of the blue. Some people do X1 and then Y1 to the right of it instead of below it. So this will be Y1 down here. And let's pick this one as X2, this one as Y2. Again, it doesn't matter which one's X1, Y1, X2, Y2 as long as you don't intermix them. Now let's plug it into slope formula. M equals Y2 is 70 minus Y1, which is 10 up top, and then 7 minus 1 in the denominator. You get M equals 60 over 6. Well, 60 divided by 6, you're going to end up getting a slope of positive 10 as they're both divisible by 6. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the table to see if we see that change without utilizing slope formula. So that was M is equal to 10. So let's write that below number 2. M is equal to 10. We'll relabel this as the X and Y here. And now let's see, well, what is the change going on between each Y value? Well, from 10 to 30, that's increasing by 20, 20 again, and 20 again. I'm just going to put plus 20 once, right? You do know that it's changing 20 each time. I'm just not going to write it 3 times. And then for your X changes, from 1 to 3, that's 2, 2, and 2. So it's gaining by 2 each time. And then when we plug it into slope, you get M equals, your vertical change was 20, your horizontal change was 2. Well, what's 20 divided by 2? You still get 10 back as a final answer. So that works. Now let's take a look at number 3, utilizing, again, the same methods. Again, we have a vertical table. It's labeled X and Y for us. So let's pick our 2 order pairs. Let's say this one is X1. This is Y1, and this is X2, this is Y2. We'll plug it into our slope formula. You get M equals 6 minus 8 all over 14 minus 7. You get M equals 6 minus 8 is negative 2. 14 minus 7 is 7. And our final answer for this is negative 2/7 for the slope. Now we'll take a look at the table without utilizing slope formula. So we have M equals negative 2/7. Now let's take a look at our vertical change or our change in our Y value. So from 10 to 8, you are decreasing by 2, decreasing by 2, decreasing by 2, so minus 2 here. And then our change for our X values, increasing by 7, 7, and 7. So when we go ahead and write that, we're going to end up getting M equals, your vertical change was negative 2, horizontal change was 7. We still get negative 2/7 back as a final answer. And then on to our last one before I give you 4 tables on your own to try out and see if you can find the slope in the practice session. So again, no X and Y labels. So temp is going to be X and elevation is going to be Y. We label X1, Y1. So X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Let's plug it into our slope formula. So M equals Y2 minus Y1. That's going to be 400 minus 200 all over negative 8 minus negative 8. Well, 400 minus 200, that'll be 200 up top. Negative 8 minus a negative 8, that turns to addition. So negative 8 plus 8 gives you 0. Well, this answer is not going to give us 0 back. If you typed in 200 divided by 0 on the calculator, it gives you an error, which means this is undefined. So if you were to graph this, it would be a completely vertical line up and down, making that slope very, very steep, too steep that it's undefined. So our final answer for this is not going to be 0. You need to actually write M equals undefined, or if you want to abbreviate it, undefined. Don't put M equals 0 because you're saying the line has no slope or steepness to it at all, which would be inaccurate. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the table, look at our changes. So for our vertical change or our Y values, it looks like each time it's increasing by 100. So we're going to put plus 100 there. And then for our X values or our horizontal change, the number stays the exact same. So there's a change of 0. And then if you were to write it, you would get M equals your vertical change is 100 up top all over your horizontal change, and you would still get undefined back. Now let's make our way over to the practice session to see if you can go 4 for 4. Now it's time for the practice session. I encourage you to pause the video here and see if you can find the slope of all 4 of these tables. And when you think you're ready to go, come back and play the video. and see how you did. So I'm assuming at this point you've ran through all of these tables and you think you have all the answers. So let's go ahead and see if you went 4 for 4. So I'm going to intermix these just so it goes a little bit quicker. I'm going to use slope formula for 2 of them, and then I'm just going to look at the table and see the change of the y and the x values for the other 2. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one. I'm going to utilize slope formula and pick 2 order pairs. So this will be x1, y1, and we'll say this one is x2, y2. Let's plug it into our slope formula. So m equals y2 minus y1, or 8 minus 14 in the numerator for our vertical change. And then for our horizontal change, that's going to be -2 minus -20. We get m equals 8 minus 14, and our numerator is -6, all over -2 minus a negative, so turning to addition, that's going to turn to a positive 18. And 6 and 18 are both divisible by 6, so we end up getting -2/3 as a final answer for number 1. So again, you could have utilized slope formula there, or looked at the change in your y values and your x values, because it should have been changing at a constant rate, and you should have got -2/3 for number 1. So if you did, very, very nice job. I'm just going to write the final answer below number 1. So m equals -2/3. Now for number 2, I'm going to switch gears and find the change in our x and y values instead of using slope formula. So this will be x, this is y. The change in our y values looks like it's changing by 0 every single time. So that's going to be a change of 0. And then for our x values, it looks like it is changing by a positive 30. So that'll be plus 30. Then when we go ahead and write this, that's going to be m equals vertical change up top, 0, all over horizontal change, which is 30. Well, 0 over 30, we're going to get a slope of 0, which means if you were to see this on a graph, it would be completely horizontal with no steepness at all. So m equals 0 is the correct final answer for number 2. So we have m equals 0. Then for number 3, let's go ahead and utilize slope formula once again. We'll pick 2 order pairs. So x1, y1, x2, y2. M equals y2 minus y1. That's 5 minus -5 up top, all over 11 minus 11. Subtracting a negative in the numerator, that turns to addition. So we end up getting for this, m equals 5 plus 5 is 10, all over 11 minus 11, which is 0. We get 0 in the denominator, which gives you an error on the calculator, meaning that this slope is undefined, or a completely vertical line, or too steep for number 3. So you should have got for number 3, not m equals 0, but m is equal to undefined. So I'm just going to write that up top here. And then finally, the very last one, let's go ahead and find the change of our y and x values. So x and y. It looks like the change in our y values is increasing by 10 each time. And then for our x values, it looks like it is increasing by 6 each time. So then we go ahead and write this. We get m equals, vertical change is 10 over 6. Well, 10 and 6 are both divisible by 2, so we get m equals 10 divided by 2 is 5, 6 divided by 2 is 3, and our final answer for slope for number 4 is a positive 5/3. If you went 4 for 4 in this practice session, very, very nice job. I hope the video helped you out in finding slope from a table, and if it did, leave a like on the video, comment any other topics you want to see in the future, subscribe, turn on that bell for post notifications, and we'll see you in the next one with some more mathematics.
The orbit that surrounds you.